this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish gown. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. And this dress is from Jessie Clothing Shop. So to start, here is my pattern, and I've gone ahead to mark out my basic measurements. First, I'm going to be cutting this dress in a long A-line shape dress. Now we're also going to have a slash and spread method at the lower part of this pattern. So what I have here is the shoulder to bust, under bust, waist. So my hip point is 7 inches after my waistline, then the full dress length. Using the full length of this pattern paper as my full length of this dress. I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2 here. Now, at this point, I'll come down by 1 inch. And after marking that, I'll place my ruler and I'm going to mark my basic neckline of 3 inches to connect. So next, I'll find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I made a mark at that point and I'll place my ruler and draw out a straight line. So after this, I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2 again, and I'll be marking it on that chest line. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll connect from the shoulder down to my chest line where I have my shoulder measurement divided by 2. And the next step is just to go ahead to divide it by 2. Now I'll come in by ½ inch at that point. Go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll connect from here to this ½ inch and all the way to the upper part of my pattern. Now after I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to insert my measurement. So I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and I'll add my sewing allowance. I'll mark my underbust circumference divided by 4 and I'll also add my sewing allowance. So for this particular dress, you don't need too much sewing allowance for your pattern. And I'll also mark my waist circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. So this dress is more like an A-line dress that has a slash and spread at this point. So what I will do is to go ahead and mark my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 6 inches. My hip is 40 divided by 4. I have 10. Now I'm going to add 6 inches, making it 16. Now I'm going to place from my waist to that point. But when I'm marking, I'll make sure that whatever I have here will not be fitted on the hip area of my dress. And I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to connect this all the way to the lower part of my pattern. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out and we're going to alter the pattern. For the lower part of this pattern, we're going to use a slash and spread. Now another thing you want to do is to take the measurement from your bust to your underbust, then minus it from your total dress length, because the lower part of this pattern will be in form of a slash and spread method. So any measurement you get from deducting your shoulder to bust from your full dress length, that is what you'll be using for the lower part of your pattern, or you're going to actually use a slash and spread method on the lower part. Now this is my pattern, and for the upper part of your pattern, you're going to trace out your shoulder to waist or shoulder to underbust bodies, because you'll be using it to serve as a guide for the back. I'll go up by 1.5 inches. You can go up by 2 inches or 2.5. Let's say you have a bigger bust. Now I'm going to extend this all the way going down to the armhole of my dress. After I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to use my marker to outline it. Now after I'm done outlining this part of my pattern, the next step I'll take is to come in by ½ inch here, and from this part you can now go ahead to draw like a little curve going down to the under bust of your pattern. So this part now you cut it out. And another thing is that when you're cutting your pattern, At this point, you'll be adding like extra 1 inch in front because you're going to create like a loop space where you'll be passing your elastic. So from here, I'll slant this down to the waistline of my pattern. Now I'll come in a bit from this part of my pattern. You can come in by 3 inches, and I'll slant it towards the underbust area of my pattern. Now from this underbust part of my pattern, you'll be extending your pattern to the back. That is where you now have the rope. This rope at the center, you're going to attach it. That extra 1 inch you're going to add there to create like a loop, and then you pass your rope through it. Then when you do that, you're now going to cross it over each other at your chest line to give you that crisscross effect. Now that rope that you're going to make is going to pass all the way to the back pattern of your dress. Now, just like I said, by the side of this dress, we are going to extend it to the back so that that rope coming from the chest line is going to get to the loop that we are also going to make to connect to the back of the dress. So we are going to see that when I'm also drafting out the back. So I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So just like I said earlier, always remember to add like 1 inch extension in front, which you're going to fold back, or you're going to use a bias to sew and turn this to the side of your fabric, and you're going to top stitch. So after you're done stitching on this part, that is when you will now pass your rope and you'll be joining this side. Now the lower part is not going to be like this. If you cut it this way, it will not give you that full flare effect. We'll use a slash and spread. Now remember, like I said, cut your half basic bodies when I started altering the front part. This will help serve as a guide to what you're going to use to join to the side. So I just have this. I was supposed to place it the armhole side meeting the armhole side, but I mistakenly placed it this way, but it's still okay. The only thing I want is just to know the length of the extension I'm going to have at the back of the dress. Now I'm just going to cut this off, and you'll be attaching that part that you cut out back to the front bodies this way, and I'll tape this out so that when you're cutting it, you cut this as one piece without having joining at the side. Now you also remember to add your 1 inch in front. Here also you're going to add 1 inch at the back, which you're going to fold it up where your loop or the rope from the front will be passing to the back. For the lower part of this dress, you use a slash and spread to achieve the wideness. All you have to do is to cut it out, number it, and place it on your fabric. Then give like 3 to 5 inches space before placing each other. Then go ahead to trace it out following the shape. Then later you're just going to gather it back to the actual measurement you had on the waistline before slashing and spreading the dress. So this is what I have, and the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to cut out the back. Now to cut out the back, you need from your waist to the full length of your dress. Measure from your waist to the full length of your dress. And now you're not going to actually use the actual measurement of your waist. You can add additional 10 to 20 inches to it. Now, and you're going to use like a 180-degree flare to cut this, because the flare is more like a simple flare at the back. So you're going to fold your pattern into a triangular form this way. That is your fabric. So let's say this is our fabric, and another thing you need to know is the length of your dress. Measure from waist to your full length, and also don't use your actual waistline. You're going to like add few inches to it. Right now I'm just going to go ahead to divide what I have round the waist plus my extra allowance by 2 inches. So let's say what I divided by 2, I got 10 inches. You're going to make a mark there. Place your tape from the tip of your pattern paper to that point you have. Now you're going to take that measurement all the way straight. Make sure you're accurate. You're going to draw a straight line. Now the next step you're going to take is to go ahead to measure from the tip of your pattern paper to that place, whatever you have. go ahead to take it all the way around, forming like a semicircle. Now you're going to go ahead to connect back that circle, or you're going to go ahead to connect back those lines that you marked. So after that, you're now going to take the full length of your dress. You can take it now or go ahead to cut this out first. Now whenever you're taking the full length of this dress, what you're going to do is you're going to add extra 1 inch to it, because you're going to be adding a folding allowance, or you're going to be turning it up with your bias. Now after marking that full length, go ahead to place your ruler and connect this all the way to the end, and you're now going to go ahead to use your scissors to cut this out. So after you're done cutting out, this is what you're going to have for the back. You now fold it up, add your elastic, and it will gather around your waist at the back.